Hello anatomy students, this is the preview video for the group 4 muscles, and we're going to look at the deep chest and shoulder muscles. Now looking at your muscle list, we're first going to find supraspinatus, infraspinatus, the spine of the scapula, which is a bone, and the subscapularis, and then the teres major. And then we will flip the muscle up and see more of the teres major and then the serratus ventralis. So there's going to be some cuts going on here. Let me zoom in for you. So we're looking at the lateral aspect of the mink. And back when we did our dissection for group 3, we cut through the clavotrapezius and we reflected it so that we were able to see clitomastoid and then also cervicalis, which is right here. But now what I want to do is I want to see where Atlanto Scapularis actually goes. And so to do that, I'm going to continue my incision up here at the top through acromiotrapezius and then also spinotrapezius. So let's see how this goes. You know what? I think instead I'm going to use my probe to get through, and then I'll use my scalpel to cut right on top of it. Again, preventing me from cutting too deep into the tissue. There we go. So I've cut through acromiotrapezius here, and I'm just going to reflect it back a little bit. And now let's see. Oh, yep. And I also went through my spinotrapezius, which is fine as well. So these can come up, these can come on down. And let's see what I've got here. Just use my sharp pick to keep that back a little bit more. All right, so I'm just taking apart some of the fascia that's connecting this part of acromiotrapezius to the muscles underneath. And so looking back at my muscles here, so again, here was group 3 clitomastoid, here was group 3 cervicalis, and then right above it is the Atlanto Scapularis, which was also a part of group 3. And so that's what I'm looking at here. And there's some fascia kind of connecting it to the rhomboideus muscles. So let me just snip a little bit through those. Now, if you follow Atlanto Scapularis here, you'll see that it is attached to a part of a bone. And you can see this white line very well. That is the spine of the scapula. Now, deep to Atlanto Scapularis, we see our first muscle that's listed on our muscle list, that's supraspinatus. So in order to see that, we have to detach Atlanto Scapularis from the spine of the scapula here. So I'll do that using my scissors. Again, just being careful. I don't want to cut anything else. So I'm just detaching Atlanto Scapularis from the spine of the scapula. And when I reflect it, ooh, there's a lot of stuff under here. And so when I reflect it, I see a very large muscle that is cranial to the spine of the scapula, which again is right over here. This muscle is supraspinatus. Supraspinatus. And, you know, we could probably see it even better. Let's see, if I cut through where the acromiotrapezius meets up with spinotrapezius here. Let's just cut through that, and I can pull this back down. There's Atlanto Scapularis. There we go. So this big, large muscle here, this is called supraspinatus. Okay, so on the other side, though, of the spine of the scapula, and again, the bone is right over here. In order to see my infraspinatus, I need to detach my spinotrapezius from that bone. So I'm going to carefully use my scalpel to scrape away spinotrapezius and any of that fascia that is there. There we go. And now I feel like I've kind of obscured my spine of the scapula. Oh no, there it is. It looks good. All right, so the spine of the scapula is right here. And you can feel it also. Like it feels like hard because it's actually bone. And so once again, cranial to the spine of the scapula, I have supraspinatus. Now, caudal to, or towards the tail end of the mink, caudal to the spine of the scapula, I have a round muscle right here. It's kind of like a teardrop muscle. This is infraspinatus. Infraspinatus. So here's the spine of the scapula, and it separates supraspinatus from infraspinatus. Now, also in this view, you're able to see another muscle, and that is called the Teres Major. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see. So I'm going to tug a little bit on dorsoepitrochlearis here. And you can see that if you just kind of like scrape a little bit very lightly at the fibers here, you can see that there is this tiny muscle here. Let me just zoom in a little bit for you so that you can see that a little bit better. There are some tiny fibers right here as I tug on dorsoepitrochlearis. I'm just going to, again, use the very tips of my sharp scissors so that we can make that a little bit more visible. But this muscle right here, this tiny one, this is Teres Major. Teres Major. That is right there. And let's see if I can't clean it up a little bit more for you. Now, the interesting thing about Teres Major is that from this view, we are literally looking at the tip of the iceberg. Teres Major is a little bit bigger than this, and we're going to see it once we take this arm and we flip it all the way up over the spine. Okay, so let me grab my forceps here so I can just show you again. So this muscle, this tiny little piece right here, that's Teres Major. Okay, so once again, your landmark is the spine of the scapula. So you first have to expose that by cutting away Atlanto Scapularis, and then cranial to the spine is supraspinatus. Caudal to the spine of the scapula is infraspinatus.
This is a reminder that we will meet at 7:30 for a brief staff meeting in the auditorium. Thank you.
And then this is the Teres Major here. Okay, now what we have to do is I'm going to pause this because apparently I have a staff meeting that I forgot about, and then I'll get the rest. I'll show you how to flip the arm up in a second video.